Welcome aboard FreeDive with Seapoint Digital, your go-to podcast for deep dives into the world of digital marketing. I'm Christy.
And I'm Anna Lynn.
Your hosts navigating through the currents of growth, strategy, and innovation in the digital realm.
We're going to talk. We're going to laugh. It's going to be a good time.
Let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of the FreeDive podcast. We're back today with Anna.
Hello.
I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm mostly excited because, true confessions. Anna's like my biggest fan, of the podcast.
I am.
You officially win, biggest fan of the podcast.
Yay!
Always can
Trophy
count on
for
you to
me.
listen. So who better to be a guest?
I literally sit when I have to have time dedicated to listening to your podcast because I have a notebook and I make notes of things that I want to say in my comment to you at the end, because I made the mistake of thinking that I could make multiple comments, and so I put one half in once, and then it was like, oh no, you've already commented.
On which platform?
On
Spotify?
Spotify, yeah. It was
Oh.
like, oh, you've already commented, so you can't comment again. So now I'm like, okay, I've got notes now so that I can remember all the things that I want to say in my comment.
Let Anna be an example to you all. This is very cute that you do that.
So yeah, so that's how I do my comments now. Is I like that point. I like that point. Okay, now I'll write my comment at the end.
Oh my God! May all of this be an example to you. I love it so much. Thank you. Well, we asked Anna to be here today because she's an account manager here at Seapoint, and I've had a lot of conversations with people lately where they're like, "I don't know what an account manager is. What does that mean?" And so it felt like a really good topic to have one of the best account managers I know explain to us what on earth that means. So where to even start with that? How long have you been doing account management? Just ballpark, and how many clients are you working with at this time?
So I think I've been here with Seapoint 2.5 years.
Okay. Yep.
So that's about
sounds
how
right.
long I've been doing account management.
Yep.
I manage, I think I'm at 38 clients now.
My word. That's absurd.
I'm hopefully handing one client over to Kevin
Okay,
in the near future, so
one.
I'll be down to 37.
Good.
No, it's not as bad as it sounds, because the majority of the clients that I manage are smaller,
Mhm.
and they maybe ask me to help them with something once, maybe twice a year.
Mhm.
It's not a whole lot of day-to-day
Yeah.
work with a lot of them. But yeah, so the larger clients I have definitely are a daily, daily communication, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So what does it mean to be an account manager for a client?
That is a very good question. I find it a challenge even for myself to for example, to explain it to my mom.
Yeah.
When I try to explain to my mom what I do, it's difficult because I feel like an account manager wears so many hats,
Mhm.
and you kind of just have to do whatever comes up.
Yeah.
I'm there to communicate between the different teams
Yep.
here at Seapoint
Yep.
and the client. So for example, one of my clients, they're completely redesigning their entire look of their building. We're building a new website for them. They're getting a whole new logo, whole new branding guide, new colors, new fonts, everything. So I'm communicating with the creative team, the graphic design team,
Mhm.
to come up with, designs for them. And so that could be one part of it. And then another part of it is hey, we need to hook up this platform to this platform. Can you send me the code that the email
Mm.
sends?
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be so many random things throughout the day
Yeah.
that it's hard to explain.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I get that. And you can correct me if this take is wrong, but when I've tried to explain it to someone recently, I basically just said, you're kind of like the person that is kind of the go-between for the client to all of their needs to make sure all of their needs get met. So you're the go-to person for the client whenever they need something to make sure whatever their needs are getting met.
That's a very good explanation, and I'm going to steal it.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Because, and that actually makes me think of like, yeah, that's exactly right. And it's kind of like I'm a personal assistant,
Yeah,
but for the client. So, like, whatever they need, like, obviously, I'm not going to pick up their dry cleaning because they're in
right,
another state.
right, right.
But, yeah, basically anything they need,
They go to you.
they ask, hey, can Seapoint Digital do X, Y, or Z? Yeah, let me look into that. Let me see what I can do. And then we try to make it happen for them. So,
And the purpose of that I've come to learn over the years is it saves so much miscommunication because if the client, every time they needed a video made, had to come to me, that would create so many communication issues because there's so much that goes into a video
mhm.
with copy and what Bill wants to be involved and like so it's like a missed step. You have to first collect all of the information. You then make decisions on who needs to do what. You have to gather all this information. It saves the step of them ever having to talk to me,
Mhm.
which I often prefer. So, yeah, it's like I don't wanna call you the middleman, but it is a little
Yeah.
bit like you're the middleman.
Yeah, I feel like the middleman, which is it's not a bad
Mhm.
term, I guess.
Yeah,
And that's fine. And I think it definitely makes it easier for the client in that sense too, where they don't have to remember, oh, I need to email Christy for video. I need
right,
to email Vanessa for graphics. I need, like they just have one person
right.
that handles everything. And then I do all the messaging. Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do this?
Yeah.
Making sure that deadlines are, hopefully met on time
Yeah,
as
yeah.
much as humanly possible.
Organized chaos.
I kind of become
Mhm.
the face of the company because they see me and talk to me and
Right.
message with me,
Yeah,
on a weekly, sometimes daily basis. So, you know,
yeah.
I'm like the person that they become comfortable with
Mhm.
on the team because I'm the main person they communicate with.
Yeah. So, what kind of like I just think of you as a very, very good account manager because you just seem to have everything always in control. And for that many clients, okay, you're good at keeping it in control. I am a panicker,
Oh
and
man.
you do not appear to be a
Oh,
panicker.
you
S-
should see me when I'm in my home office. When I'm here, I can
that,
hide it very
that's where
well.
you save all of the panicking.
Yeah, I save all the panicking for when I'm at home and I'm complaining to my husband about why can't I do everything? But
Well,
I
that being
try. Thank you.
said, yeah.
I appreciate that you think that.
Yeah. What do you think are good skills that, fit because let me just back up and say I tried account management for a short period of time and it was not for me. Even though I
Okay.
find myself to be very much a type A personality and very
And you're very organized. Yeah.
organized and a good communicator, I still like I don't fit the role of an account manager. I'm not really sure what it is. I think it's too many moving pieces and
Mm.
it's too many things to keep track of. And my brain just doesn't keep track of things that way. I also just find myself to be a creative type.
Hmm.
So, to you, what do you think makes a good account manager? What kind of skills?
Yeah, I think you definitely need to be an organized person.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like it's kind of similar to maybe like a concierge service at
Yep.
like a hotel or something. Like I'm not a waitress, but I need to be personable with you and make you feel like you trust my
Yeah.
recommendations, that I know what I'm talking about, and
Yeah.
that if you follow my advice, you feel confident that you're following my advice. So it's kind of like that, like you have to have the ability to instill trust in people that you know what you're talking about,
Hmm.
even if sometimes you don't know what
Right.
you're talking
It's
about.
fake it till you
Yeah,
make
fake
it.
it till you make it. But yeah, so definitely you have to be able to be organized. I have to write everything down.
Yes.
Um, we use teamwork as a task manager
Yep.
and I have to put everything in there because if the task isn't there for me to see, I will forget about it because there's so many hundreds and hundreds of tasks
Mm-hmm.
for all these different clients.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if I don't have that's when things go awry.
Yeah.
Is when
Yeah.
I either forget to make a task for myself or
Yeah.
forget to make a task for somebody else.
Yeah.
Um, that that can make things not great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
What do you think the difference is? This is something I've thought a lot about, and I don't know if you have an opinion on this. Is the difference between um, someone who does like strategy versus account management? So we have Mark on our team who does strategy, but he's not managing accounts. But at the same time, I think an account manager does have a level of strategy involved with helping their client. Do you find that there's a big difference for you there? Have you thought about that?
yeah, I have that, and actually, I'm glad you mentioned Mark because he is like an excellent resource to go to, and I go to him often for strategy
Hmm.
purposes because he just has so much more experience than I do. So, what I do have experience in, I feel confident about, but it's also nice to have that experience that you can pull from when I don't feel quite so confident,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I want to bring, a good strategy to the client on whatever it is that they want to do.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I feel like those two are separate yet connected, if
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like,
Yeah.
the strategy part isn't necessarily my strong suit,
Hmm.
but the organization and the accomplishing of what they want, I feel like I'm good at.
Yeah. We're fortunate to have such a good strategist on our
Yeah,
team.
like he's
Very fortunate.
amazing. I
Yeah.
I utilize Mark's brain
Hmm.
whenever I can because he's just amazing.
Is there anything about like what are the things you really like or really don't like about account management?
What do I really like? I really like the client meetings.
Mm.
So, not all of my clients, but a majority of them, we have monthly meetings to
Mhm.
discuss whatever analytics they want to review and data they want to review about how their business is going and how if they have Google ads running, how are the ads doing? Are they getting good results from the ads, or they're not seeing much of a difference, or things like that? But I like those meetings because you get to know them as humans
Yeah.
and they get to know me as a human,
Right.
and that makes it so much easier when you have that like human to human relationship with your clients. They You can understand each other better. You can understand each other's lives too that are separate from work,
Yeah.
so that like there's also understanding too, like if I say, I'm working on that but it'll be next week, like
Mhm.
they know why.
Right.
Like I'm open with my clients about like what's going on in my life
Yep.
and in our office lives
Yep.
too, because
Yep.
I feel like that's important, because if you don't have that good relationship and openness with your clients, then they're just going to be like, well, she's just putting me off.
Flaking off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like she's just
Not paying
ignoring me,
attention.
or
Yep.
why isn't she getting this done for me?
Yep.
Like I want them to know that I am working on it, but
Yep.
you're not my only client
Right.
and I have a whole other
Yeah.
life,
And it
personal life
establishes
too. And
trust too.
yeah, I feel like that, and that's my favorite part of account managing, is like building those relationships with the
Hmm.
people
Hmm.
that are the clients. So that's fun. Like recently, we went when we went to Boston
Hmm.
for an in-person client meeting.
Yeah.
I was so excited because I felt like I was going to visit my friends in
Yeah.
Boston, not
Yeah.
like, oh, we're going for a work meeting.
Right. Right. Right.
Like it was something we were excited and happy to see them, and
Yep.
I ended up just hugging them
Hugging
because
most of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
you've established these relationships with people
And it makes those meetings like way more comfortable.
so much more
Yeah.
comfortable and fun.
Yeah.
Like you can have actual fun while you're doing your job, which
Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah.
As far as things I don't like, um, let's see. I think a big challenge has been in the past when I've had a client that was an aggressive personality,
Mm,
and let's just say they were straight up rude.
yeah.
They were a
Yeah.
rude person, and it's hard to be kind and be patient and
Yeah.
be polite when people are screaming at you,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, I mean, that was definitely a challenge, but that's also a huge reason why I think Seapoint is so successful is Bill doesn't force us to work with people that are
Yep.
terrible.
Yep.
you know
Yep.
so I mean sometimes you know client company vibe, it just doesn't vibe,
Right.
and he gets that, and he's not going to like make us deal with people who are incredibly hard to deal with.
Yeah. That you can have a successful
Yeah,
relationship that
it's just
way.
not working.
Yep.
So, you know, that was hard, but I don't have that client
Yep.
anymore. So, so yeah, I can't really think of anything that's like, oh my God, the drudgery of account management. Like
hmm
I enjoy what I do.
Yep. Do you have any advice for anyone that is new to account management or would be considering a job in account management, like what you wish you had known?
But I think if I was going to give advice to someone, if you're not a people person, don't do this job
Mm,
because you're with the people, like your clients are your people, and there's a lot of communication. You need to be a good communicator, a people person, an organized person. And yeah, I think as long as you have those skills, you'll do fine because
so,
a huge part of it is being able to have that relationship with your client.
so would you say extroverted or just
I don't necessarily think you have to be an extrovert because I don't consider myself an extrovert.
okay?
I consider myself to be an introvert,
Okay.
but I think I'm an extroverted introvert.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can be with people all day, but then at the end of the day, I want to be by myself.
Right. Right.
And that's when I recharge. So
hmm
it's not, plus, it's helpful that I get to work from home most of the time.
hmm
And that's like my happy place.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's good for me.
Yep.
I love working from home, working remotely.
hmm
But yeah, I think as long as you have the ability to communicate well,
hmm
you can write a good email, that you're conscious of how your words might come across written out,
Yeah.
because it's different than a telephone conversation.
Right.
Most of the communication for an account manager is via email
hmm
or instant message or whatever.
hmm
So I'm not having a lot of phone calls. I mean, I do from time to time, but it's not super often.
Yeah.
So I think like if you can put together email communication well,
hmm
then you'll do great because you can give off certain vibes with how you write things
hmm
that would make it like seem negative even though you don't mean it to be negative, but if
Yeah.
when someone's reading it they're like, is she being snarky? Like,
Yeah.
so I always kind of like try to reread everything before I send it and just be like, okay, does that sound friendly and nice and
hmm
not arbitrary or whatever?
Yeah. And so that's making me think like, do you have you learned or do you have any advice on like, you have had controversy with clients, like dealing, how to deal with that. You have to stay professional and yet you're still a person and don't want to be treated like trash. So how do you get through that? How would a person get through that kind of controversy?
Um, I would recommend saving every single email.
Oh, that's a great advice.
I I was actually because one of our newest account managers, Kevin, that might be taking over one of my clients. That's the first thing I told him. I was like, what I do is in my inbox, I have labels for each client.
Oh,
So I have 38 labels,
wow.
and I put when I'm done with an email conversation, like that task is completed or I've answered their question or whatever, I take that email and I put it in the folder
What a great
for
idea.
that client, and I keep it forever because it has saved my butt quite a few times
Mm.
where um like that arbitrary client would say, well, you never did this, or I asked you to do this and you never did, and I can be like, this email says that I did, so I
Please review.
yes, please see my email from 3 months ago. Yeah, so I mean
Yep.
that definitely helps
Yep.
because it covers your butt for sure.
Yeah. Wow, that's that's a great example of any other organization tips like that that have helped you.
Hmm.
My brain would get so cloudy and cluttered with that many clients and who am I forgetting about and meetings and but that doesn't get to you.
Um, I think I have it figured. In the beginning, yes, it was a lot. I
Hmm.
think now that I have it kind of like down for myself, and that's the other thing too. Like when I was training Kevin, I'm like, this is how I do it,
Yeah,
but do it how it makes sense to your brain.
right.
Like everybody's learns differently and works differently. So like I feel like making it a cookie cutter, like you do this and then you do this and then you do this, isn't going to work because everybody has a different style.
Yeah.
So I've gotten my style down,
Mhm.
and I think that's a big part of it too when you're first starting out is just finding what organizational style works for you and roll with it
Mhm.
because
What about when it comes to connecting like with the team? You have to go to the graphics, you have to go to creative team for stuff. Like how are you able to like get them to come back on time with stuff? Is that like
yeah, I can think of one person right off the bat that is probably sick of me giving giving them tasks like I get it, you have stuff that you need me to do. Like um I feel like that's another big relationship part
Yeah.
is, like these people. I like my coworkers, but we also have deadlines for stuff too. So it's a balancing act of like, hey, I need this, please, but not being a jerk about it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think the being a good communicator
Yeah.
is key in that aspect of it too,
Yeah.
because um, you know, no one wants to be like, where are my graphics or where's my ad or
Yeah, it's not
you
an
don't want to
effective way to get what you want.
yeah, you don't want
Yeah.
to be a jerk about it, but
You also need what you need to get back to your client on time.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just I feel like just being a generally kind, polite person as much as possible is helpful because
Occasional reminders.
yeah, I'm just like, hey, okay, so this is something I do often. I will take a task link,
Mhm.
send it in the chat to the person and be like, hey, what's the status of this task?
Perfect. Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, it's kind of on your radar, like
Mhm.
that I need it, but I don't know where you're at with it. But
Mhm.
it's not accusatory either.
Right.
Like, why isn't this done yet? It's just, hey, what's up with this?
Yep.
Is are you still working on it? What's the status?
Yep.
So I do that often. Or I'll just be like, hey, friendly reminder that, you know, this X, Y, or Z is
Please
coming
do
up.
this.
And then sometimes I'm a total bonehead and I thought I did something and I didn't. Like, for example, yesterday, um, a blog was like overdue in a task list. And I messaged Kiara and I'm like, hey, what's up with this blog? It's not up yet. And she's like, well, I never got approval for it. And I'm like, but I didn't have it in my email
Oh,
still. So what I had done is I had taken the email and put it in its little folder like I do, but it wasn't done yet.
oops.
So I'm like, oh, that was my bad.
Yeah.
So I just reminded the client, hey, is this approved for publishing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So no big deal.
Yeah.
But, and that's the thing too. Like, you have to be a good apologizer.
Yes.
I think you have to be willing to
Be
be
humble.
humble and
Yeah.
be, oh, I'm so sorry. That was my mistake.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no biggie. That was my bad.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you sound
yeah,
like you have it down.
I'm trying.
We were impressed from over here.
Oh,
So,
yay. Well, thank you. I appreciate
yeah.
that.
Yeah. We're already out of time, but I really appreciate just getting a glimpse
Yeah,
into
thank
your
you.
account
Very
world.
insightful questions. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah.
I enjoy the podcast because even though like I work in marketing, it's there's so many different
Yes.
moving pieces and moving parts that
Yeah.
I get to learn new things too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
a deep dive into their job is
Right.
it's cool.
Yeah.
So I
People
like it.
now get to learn yours.
Yay.
Come back again.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Christy.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time. It's the end.
No, it's not. There's more.
There's always more.
Don't be sad. You can catch our full video interviews on our YouTube channel. Come find us.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends so that we're not sad.
And follow us on TikTok.
And Instagram.
It'll make your day happier, promise.
And we'll know if you do. Until next time.